There's a number of helpful features that are available from almost any iCell screen that may be useful to you, so I want to show them to you. Let me pick a screen to use as an example. I'll pick all attendees from our attendee database. So it brings up a screen whereby we can take a look at the features now. And first of all, in the lower left corner, you'll see that there's a paging, a pagination. Any screen that comes up that has more than a screen's worth of data will automatically have a pagination feature at the bottom, where it shows you the number of screens that are available. In this case, 1,419 screens in total is a lot of records. You can click the little right arrow, of course, and it'll go down to the next screen and work on down. And of course, the left arrow does the opposite, goes back to the beginning. And there's a double right arrow that takes you to the very end of the table. And of course, the double left arrow takes you back to the beginning again. Now, this is probably a little obvious here, but at least that's what that is. Then there's also a total record count in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. There's a total record count of the number of table entries that are in the particular view you're looking at. Next thing I want to show you is if you pull up a screen that has a number of columns that are too wide to fit on the given screen you're using, there's a little bar that automatically appears at the bottom that enables you to scroll left and right to view the all of the columns. Next item is sorting. You can of course, this is standard with a lot of web apps nowadays, but you can click on any column heading and it will sort that column. First, with one click, it'll sort ascending, and the second click, it'll sort descending. Now, this particular screen comes up sorted ascending order, name, ascending order by name. So let's just click it a second time and it'll sort, ascending. Second time, we got descending. So a third time, back ascending again. So any column can be sorted in that manner. There's also another way to do the sort. If you hover over any column name, you'll see a little right arrow appear. If you click on that right arrow, then you've got the option to sort ascending or sort descending. So you can do it that way also. The next option is column width. If we scroll over to the right, I think we'll see here's a column zip code. Some of these zip codes are too narrow to fit on the column width that we've defined. Also, same here for phone number. Got a couple phone numbers that really won't fit in the column. Well, you can grab the divider in between those two columns and hold down the mouse button and drag them to the right, make that column wider. Same thing with zip code. Any column will work the same way. Once you've set the column widths the way you like them, if you want to keep them that way for each time you log on, you can save them. There's a little icon over here, Save Width, Height, and Column Settings. You click on that icon, it says settings have been saved. Then the next time you log on with this same user ID, those column width settings will be in effect. You can turn them off by clicking the very next icon, which is Restore Default Settings. So if we click on that, then the settings will be restored. So that's a handy feature in case you care to permanently adjust those column widths for the data you're viewing. Another feature is this particular display has a lot of columns, and you may not be interested in all of them depending on the data you're trying to get at. So you can eliminate some. For example, you can eliminate country. This little down arrow that I showed you before, whereby you could click, hover over a column heading, and there's always a little arrow that appears. You can click that arrow and get to the two sorting options, ascending and descending, but also a third option here, columns. We have this particular screen divided into 3 sets of major columns. We've got a conferences, attended, attendee, and address. So if you hover over any one of them, it'll display the columns that are within that major grouping. If we look at the address columns, we've got street, city, state, zip, and country. If you want to disable country, you can just click on it, and the country column disappears. Same thing with, we can get rid of zip code, etc. You can get rid of any number of columns that you want to not see, by the same token you can add them back just by re-clicking those fields. So we turn zip code and country back on, and those columns reappear. So you can determine which columns you actually want to see in your... Another feature that's handy is you can actually move columns. For example, let's see what would be a good example here. You might want to... Well, we've got this email button. You can email anybody who has left a who has entered an email address. So we might want to move that over by the email address. So we can just grab it and drag it over and drop it, and now we have the email button right by the email address. So you can move these columns around however you like. Now, the column move feature is not saved if you were to save it for a future time. So each time you use the screen, you have to remove it. But anyway, at any rate, you can move them around and have them positioned for your current use wherever you'd like them. You can also drag it back. But the next feature I want to talk about is filters. Many of the screens will have filters for various columns. For example, this one this is the conference attendees, so we can filter by year of the conference, or the conference name, or the company they represented, or their name, etc. And these filters are all case sensitive, so when you enter a filter value, it will search for that particular character string to appear in any of the columns that you entered the filter for, but they're always case sensitive. So for example, let me show you how this works. We enter, let's say 2015, and hit return. You'll see that our display, or our data view now, is limited to only conference attendees that attended conferences in 2015. Also, when we entered the value and hit return, you notice a little X appears. That indicates that this particular filter is in effect. If you don't hit return, then it won't be in effect. And so that's one filter. And if we enter conference, IASA, and hit return, and we get no data. And that's because, as I said before, it's case sensitive and the IASA is capitalized. So I just wanted to show you an example of that. You can back up and re-enter the correct value and hit return again, and it will filter. Okay. So, and the count at the bottom right keeps being updated as you enter filter values and filter the table down. So we've got 1,300, and out of the 18,000 attendees in the database, we've got 1,372 of them that represent IASA conferences in 2015. Okay, so that's how filters work. Now, there's a couple more items that may be useful to you. One is a download. You can use this little right arrow icon, and it will download the data that's in your view into a CSV file, which is comma delimited, to your local hard drive, and you can open that file up then in Excel. So I'm going to just click on that, and it will download that file to wherever you have downloads defined in your operating system. But this particular file here is what was downloaded, query for CSV. So it's a CSV file. We can open that in Excel. And here's the data. You can see it's totally unformatted since it is a CSV file, but we can highlight all these columns and then adjust the width. Here we have all of the data fields that were on our view now downloaded into a Excel file. Now you can save the file as an XLSX file, and all of the formatting will be preserved. Okay, so that is download the data view that you have defined to a local hard drive CSV file and pull it up in Excel. And then you can massage the data however you like. The next thing we can do is provide a printer-friendly view of the data. If you want to print it, for example, if you got your view limited to something that you want to get a hard copy of, you can click the little printer icon and it will open a new tab in your browser and display this data formatted in a printer-friendly fashion. So you can print this table and get a hard copy of what you're looking at. Now this particular view has all 1,300 entries that we have in the table we've just formatted. So, but it opens a new tab, so you can just click on the tab to delete the tab, and it takes you back to where you started. Okay, so that is a review of features that are available in virtually every iCell screen. And some of them are obvious, some of them really won't be helpful to you, but some of them might. So please give them a try, see what you think.